evening, I'm Amrita Priyadarshini and this is FBC News. Tonight, Prime Minister lashes out at Australia and New Zealand once again. Business Council meeting talks about strengthening ties. And Fiji's participation in PACER Plus not totally ruled out. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama is disappointed with the manner in which New Zealand treated Fiji over the past week. Speaking at the Fiji, Australia and New Zealand Joint Business Council meeting, Bainimarama pointed to instances where double standards have been practiced. Rachel Nath has more.
At peace with itself and eager to reach out to the world.
The latest diplomatic feud stems from the arrest of 6 prominent men, including political leaders, with the Prime Minister questioning why the detainment became an international incident.
Until now, we have not lectured to you about the allegations of human rights abuses in your own countries. These include the extreme disadvantage suffered by indigenous people in New Zealand and Australia. And in the case of Australia, the inhumane treatment of asylum seekers. We also refrain from commenting on the stark double standards of nations that preach to us, yet fail to criticize the flagrant human rights abuses of their larger neighbors and more powerful allies.
He's also frustrated with comments from New Zealand's Prime Minister John Key in relation to the arrest, as well as Fiji's comments on the Pacific Islands Forum.
Being silly or mouthing off is what a parent might say about a wayward child, or a teacher might say about a problem student. It does not suggest a relationship of equals. On the contrary, it carries a distinct tone of superiority. Some might even call it patronizing or condescending. But I certainly don't think it shows appropriate respect for a sovereign nation and a democratically elected leader.
Bainimarama will deliver the same message personally to Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull when the two meet at the United Nations next week.
So please do us the courtesy of respecting our own processes and allow our elected representatives to do what is necessary in the interest of the Fijian people and Fijian economy as a whole.
Bainimarama says he wants bygones to be bygones. However, New Zealand and Australia should start giving the respect Fiji deserves. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has stressed to New Zealand and other domestic and international critics to let the parliament do its job and to respect the law as it stands. Bainimarama wants a critical assessment of the quality of relationships between Australia and New Zealand and for Fiji to be treated as equals. Rachel Nath, FBC News.
Now, Fiji's participation in the proposed Pacific Agreement on closer economic relations may still be in play despite a decision to withdraw from the talks last week. Trade Minister Fayaz Koya has clarified that there are key issues that needs to be addressed in order for Fiji and other Pacific Island countries to continue with the PACER Plus negotiations. Maggie Boyle with the story.
The regional trade agreement PACER Plus first came to light in 2001. Its ideals aimed to create jobs, raise standards of living and encourage sustainable economic development in the region. Fast forward 15 years and the proposal is faltering, with PNG withdrawing earlier this year and Fiji last week making their position clear.
We have red line issues with PACER Plus, and it's not just us, there are PNGs obviously also pulled out. Solomon, I think all the other ministers from the Foreign Island countries also, there were some with reservations. And we've spelled out what it is, and we're really saying that, look, this is not a traditional free trade agreement. Right at the forefront of this agreement is the development agenda.
Another area of contention is the non-legally binding labour mobility clause, which makes seasonal work programs for PICs insecure. And the list, it seems, goes on.
There's the issue of the infant industry that needed to be taken care of, and there's a thing called the Most Favoured Nation clause. All of those things, Fiji had redlined those issues earlier on, and we weren't quite happy with negotiations that went on.
PACER Plus has been controversial, with some civil society groups calling for it to be scrapped, saying it's unclear what PICs would be signing up for. Koya says nothing has been finalised.
Trade agreements are never closed until they're closed. They're always open. but we'll see. We have made our position known.
Chief Trade Advisor for PACER Plus for the Forum Island countries, Dr. Edwini Kessie, says that despite PNG pulling out of the negotiations and Fiji's position, the agreement remains viable. He says the remaining issues aren't serious and that a deal still can be reached, including Fiji. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Strengthening ties and furthering business partnerships is the focus for Fiji, along with Australia and New Zealand. This was highlighted at the Fiji, Australia and New Zealand Joint Business Council conference today. Rachel Nart tells us more.
The combined value of Fiji's trade with Australia and New Zealand reached $1.668 million last year. In order to maintain these figures, the delegates from the 4 Business Council gathered today to discuss areas of infrastructure, shipping and harnessing other potentials.
We are supercharging our economy by investing more in improving our infrastructure. The government is determined to provide you with the confidence, the certainty that your investment in and trade with Fiji is safe.
Both Australia and New Zealand highlighted trade demands for Fiji remains high.
This is the Australian government reaching out to business to co-fund and collaborate on solving some of the most intractable development challenges in our region.
New Zealand talks about trade. We are not thinking about trade, New Zealand to Fiji. We are thinking about trade that's mutually beneficial, that flows both ways, that strengthens our collective regional economy.
More than 150 delegates also discussed on the trade agreement PACER Plus, which was also highlighted by Trade Minister Fayaz Koya.
Is the need to actually diversify our economy, to spread our risks and not to depend on only 1 or 2 sectors.
Koya stressed integration and cooperation can only be achieved through constructive consultations and dialogue, and the 2-day forum serves as the right platform. Rachel Nath, FBC News.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama will focus on strengthening relationships of trade internationally as he takes on his new responsibility as the Foreign Minister.
And I intend to give Fiji's relationships with Australia and New Zealand the high level of attention they deserve. And I intend to work closely with my Minister for Industry, Trade and Tourism, the Honourable Fayaz Koya, to put trade at center stage of our diplomatic efforts and streamline some of our existing processes.
The National Fire Authority is investigating the circumstances surrounding a fire at the Senganga post office last night. It took the NFA Lambasa team about half an hour to reach Senganga after they received an alert via phone at about 6:30 p.m. They arrived to find the wooden structure well engulfed in flames. Using water from a nearby hydrant, they managed to extinguish the blaze, leaving only the structure. Everything else inside the building had been destroyed. This afternoon, the fire was still smouldering and flames were spotted from a few places amongst the rubble. Well, still to come on FBC News, a first ever ECE library launched in Fiji. And Fijians urged to learn more about diabetes. Stay with us.
Dalovina guia dolosana angida talita kini ana warong ng Bula FM e Golden Point Resort basendo nambando ana here binaka.
Bula binaka na adang ko tevita utu ngoi 90 ando talita ka wale warong ng Bula FM nambando ana set.
Na adang ko makilesi werkraki LSB ng Bula FM nambando ana set.
Hello nga ratu kitchen ng Gatambo ando talita ka na warong ng Bula FM nambando ana set ngo lusu.
Bula FM number 2 ana set.
Welcome back here with FBC News. Developing early childhood education will improve education standards in Fiji. These are the comments of Education Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy while launching the first ever ECE library in the Otata District School today. Saini Aniboila has more.
Dr. Mahendra Reddy today saluted ECE teachers for a job well done in nurturing future leaders of Fiji.
So that dual role ECE teachers were playing. But unfortunately, they were never rewarded or paid for what they were doing. First time ever, this government have recognized that. We are now paying their full salary. And secondly, we've increased the salary.
Dautata District School head teacher Sailosi Kama says the ECE library is the way forward.
We give thanks to the Fiji Library Services for this great initiative on this launching. There are two launching. One is the first ECE library, and another one is a parental reading engagement.
In the new move, parents will also be part of the ECE project.
It's a new milestone here for the parents here in Dautata.
We are really happy and we thank the Education Ministry.
With our launch today, our new generation is so fortunate.
This will develop education for students here in Dautata. The Education Ministry will also give $10,000 for ECE Evolution Block and $1,000 for the Play Center.
With the launch today, it's the first of the many more good days for students here at the Dautata District School in years to come. In Dautata Mbautelebu, I'm Sainiani Mboila for FBC News.
Fijians should be more aware of the danger of diabetes. With Fiji ranked second in world death rates from the disease, students from Queensland University of Technology believe Fijians must learn more about the disease. Savara Tambua has more.
Amelia Sealy, Jenny Surgett and two other students from Queensland are currently conducting assessments of diabetes. This has for Fiji to be the second in the world shows how much work needs to be done here.
The government needs to pump more into supporting them to get the message out there. I think 30% of the population here have diabetes, of the adult population, which is huge.
That I've noticed here is diabetes is such a big issue. And so there needs to be that awareness. Everybody needs to be listening to what Diabetes Fiji has to say.
Diabetes Fiji chairman Dr. Wahid Khan says everyone has to take responsibility for their own health because health workers, they can only do so much.
We talk about, hey, take care of your diabetes, we take in the air, in the news, It seems to be going in one ear and going out the other ear, and it's a huge problem, yeah.
The National Diabetes Center was given 2 laptops and a scanner given by students to assist in the fight against the killer. Having diabetes does not necessarily mean the end of the world because you can always control it by simple habits such as watching your diet, taking care of your body and always ensuring that you exercise daily. Sabira Tambua, FBC News.
The Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption is investigating schools which have abused government grants. Responding to questions from FBC News, FICAC confirms receiving complaints from the Ministry of Education and from communities during awareness sessions. The anti-corruption agency also says in some cases, school management falls short of proper accounting procedures. Some areas of concern include poor documentation of records, signing of blank checks in advance, falsifying acquittals, improper handing over, and many others. Now, FICAC has reminded schools that strict legal action will be taken against those who abuse school funds. Media Industry Development Authority Chair Ashwin Raj has challenged journalists to constructively engage the law of the land. Speaking at a forum on peace and investigating journalism in Nandi, Raj says to effectively carry out their work, journalists must familiarize themselves with the Constitution. Alan Stoltz has more.
Ashwin Raj told journalists in the Western Division that the media decree is not a hindrance to their work, rather it aims to help them.
There's been so much discussion about the penal liabilities that are attached to the media decree, but very little focus on the ethics and responsibilities. So how does one constructively engage the law so that one can speak from a space of empowerment?
Peace Journalism Workshop facilitator Dr. Rukhsana Aslam says ethics must be at the forefront of any journalist's work.
Journalists do not live or work in isolation. They do need to have that conducive environment in which they can operate critically, with conscience, morally, socially, being responsible to society, and then transparently.
There were also discussions as to how the media can be more engaged with the general public.
There is so much misinterpretation about the Constitution, there are misconceptions about the Constitution, and I think we need to have robust discussions about that. But how does one do that within the bounds of the law?
The three-day workshop came to an end yesterday with participants from various media organizations pledging to put the principles that they have learnt into practice. Ellen Stalls, FBC News.
Celebrations for the annual Ganesh Chaturthi ended today for Hindus around the country. The annual festival, which is also known as Ganesh Utsav, brings people of all walks of life together. Sharon Shivan reports.
Ganesh Utsav is celebrated widely by Hindus, particularly at their homes or in public.
To mark the importance of Lord Ganesh's presence in this world, and we still feel that he is around us and he is assisting us.
People believe that God Ganesha is good luck for our nation.
Prayers and rituals marking the occasion began 10 days ago, with devotees abstaining from meat and alcohol during this period. Today, devotees from as far as Muanibeni, Tailevu and Navua gathered in Suva for the final day rituals.
People of faith are important in a free society. A free society like we now have in Fiji. People of faith give a voice to morality and ethics.
Similar celebrations were held in the Northern Division. At the end of the festival, the idols are immersed in the sea, which disintegrates over time. Ganesh Chaturthi is a Hindu festival celebrated to honor the Lord Ganesha. This is a very auspicious day today, celebrated to pray to the gods so that every new activity that has started is successfully completed without any obstacles. Sharon Shivan, FBC News.
Now to sports, and here's Jamie.
Thanks, Amrita, and good evening. Coming up, Osborne ruled out of European tour. And Kinoa Sea Eagles ready for challenge. Details after the break.
Namaste, Golden Point Resort. Raki Raki me. Mirchi FM is garam garam. Mirchi FM is hot.
I'm Sanjay Tavua ke Mirchi FM is hot.
I'm Harshana. I love Mirchi FM. It's hot in Lautoka.
Hi, मैं अविनाशु. मैं लंबासा से बोल रहा हूँ. मैं हमेशा मिर्ची एफएम सुन रहा हूँ. मिर्ची एफएम is so hot.
मैं शालिनी देवी from Covert Avenue. जैसे आँख खुलती है वैसे मिर्ची एफएम मुझे मस्त कर देती है. मिर्ची एफएम is hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
One more player has been ruled out of the Flying Fijian side for the European tour. With Livani Mboti already out with injury, Highlanders wing Patrick Osborne will also miss the tour due to an injury sustained 2 months ago, from which he will not recover in time. Vasnil Prasad reports.
Patrick Osborne's ankle injury during the Super Rugby semi-final in July has taken longer than expected to heal.
He suffered an ankle injury in the final game for the Highlanders in the semi-final of the Super Rugby, so he hasn't played since. He's up in Japan now, but he hasn't played, so I'm keeping a close eye on how he goes, but my feeling is that he probably won't be considered due to injuries.
However, good news, England-based halfback Nicola Matoalu has recovered from injury and is back training with his club Bath.
He's under consideration for November. Our medical staff are in close contact with the Bath club, and the indications from there that he is back to full fitness.
Maki is also keeping an eye on Vatemo Ravovo, who's playing for Western Sydney Rams in Australia.
Sydney next week, and I'll be watching their home game in Sydney on Sunday week. So that's an important for me, but also looking at players up north. We know that Marta's going to Edinburgh, but I don't think he'll really probably play enough games.
Maki is keeping a hawk like an eye on about 55 players, from which he will select 29 for the European tour, where they will play Barbarians, Japan and England. Vasnil Prasad, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, former Flying Fijian captain Seremai Mbai wants to use his 16 years of rugby experience to be of service to his country. Mbai says Fijian youth need guidance in shaping their careers, and he plans to help them with this by establishing a rugby academy. Vasnil Prasad again with the details.
Seremai Mbai says it's time to give back to his nation, and this starts with his new The Rugby Academy Fiji.
At the moment, I'm starting from scratch. But You know, you're starting from scratch, and the only thing that I got is a vision and a passion. And you know, it's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing right now.
Bai, who have spent 16 years playing rugby, says it's his dream to build the academy, which relates to his upbringing.
It means a lot to me of this academy because it's kind of my life story. Things that I didn't went through. I managed to create something for this young children and young players in Fiji.
The academy will not only target upgrading players, but will also help to shape their lifestyle.
To see it as it's like a one-stop shop where clubs can come in if they're looking for talents here in Fiji.
Bai has already visited 7 schools and 3 provincial clubs so far, and if things go according to plan, the academy will be constructed in Nosori next year. Vashnil Prasad, FBC Sports.
The 2018 Sevens Rugby World Cup will feature 24 men's and 16 women's teams over 4 days of competition in San Francisco, USA. The Fiji Sevens team, which finished third in the last World Cup in 2013, has automatically qualified for the event. The other quarterfinalists from 2013, New Zealand, England, Kenya, South Africa, Wales, Australia and France, have also gained automatic qualification along with host USA. The remaining 15 places will be filled by teams through regional competitions starting in June next year. In the women's competition, with New Zealand, Canada, USA and Spain have spots booked. However, our Fijianas must qualify for one of the remaining 12 places. The Fiji men's side finished third in the last World Cup, defeating Kenya 29-5 after losing out to New Zealand 17-0 in the Cup semi-final. The Pacific Energy Kinoa Sea Eagles were not given much of a chance to play the semi-finals of the Fiji National Rugby League's Vodafone Cup. However, the team, whose best finish before the season was a win in the lower grade competition 2 years back, is riding high heading into the last stage. Rohit Deo with the story.
They started the season with a hope to do well against the big guns of the competition, but have made it to the semi-finals. The 13-12 quarter-final win over Namatakula Raiders taught this Nasinu-based side a lot of lessons.
We were a bit slow in defense. Our first 40 minutes we were slacking down. Opportunities was there, but we didn't complete every opportunity that came our way.
The semi-final stage is the best Kinoa Sea Eagles have ever achieved. They may not have big boys in their squad, but the coach says they are ready for the semi-finals.
See the size of our boys. There's no big boy now. For rugby league, there's so many big, like police. You see the size of police and look at Kinoa, but guts is the only thing will take us through.
The Sea Eagles play the Police Sharks at 2:35 p.m. on Saturday at Nandi's Prince Charles Park. In the second semi-final, Sambeto Roosters play Burenitu Cowboys at 3:50 p.m. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
Fiji's bowling pairs champions will defend their title in the National Pairs Open at the Suva Bowling Club Greens this weekend. This is also a qualifying tournament for the 2016 World Bowls Championships later this year. Meli Tavanga tells us more.
With just one more day to the Pairs Open, Samuel Atui Kilingana says it may be a battle coming this weekend.
As usual, as a defending champion, people say it's always hard, but we will take it as a challenge and we will go on from there.
The 57-year-old says they will do their best to retain the title.
Seeing the results of games that have been happening, especially the Western boys, they are very good and they're ready to come and take this back to the West, so we will try and keep it in tune.
As bowlers vie for the top 10 positions, Kilingana is calling on to young bowlers to come forward and participate in this event.
To the youngsters, we really want to encourage this sports to the young people, especially the juniors. If they can make it to this national event, it will be good. It will be a breeding ground for them to be a good bowler.
The National Pairs Open will be held at the Suva Bowling Club on Saturday and Sunday.
Top bowlers from around the country will be out to battle each other here. And come Sunday, only a pairs team for both men's and women's will shine. Meli Tabanga, FBC Sports.
That's it from sports this evening. It's back to Amrita now with business.
There is good news from ANZ Fiji today as the bank has announced reduced fees for non-customers on its ATMs. Non-customers will now pay 50 cents compared to $1.50 for cash withdrawals, and there is a 40-cent decrease for balance inquiries, which will now cost 20 cents. ANZ Acting CEO Fiji Saad Minam says the initiative is intended to make digital banking more accessible and affordable for the general public. The organisers of the monthly street market known as the Rock Market in Suva are taking the event to a new level. Coordinator Elana Kalonisinga says the Rock Market will now provide space for more vendors along Carnarvon Street, and there will be something new for the customers. The organisers are partnering up with the Corrections Department.
We're hoping to join hands with prisons, with the corrections, so that we can offer a space for inmates that are coming outside to integrate back into the community, because that's a really important process in rehabilitation.
The next Rock Market will be on Sunday. Clear and cool weather prevailed over Fiji today, with the exception of the usual cloudy skies and showers along eastern shores. The temperatures remain cool. Ba and Nandi were warmest at 30 degrees. Suva and Savasavu were the coolest at 25. You can expect overnight temperatures to drop to around 20. Tomorrow more of the same, with generally clear skies except along windward shores where cloud and light rain can be expected. And looking ahead to Friday, the weather trend of cool days with scattered cloud and showers in the east will continue into the weekend. At sea, moderate southeast winds, fresh at times, and moderate to rough swells. Recapping the main stories, Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama lashes out at Australia and New Zealand once again. Business Council meeting talks about strengthening ties, and Fiji's participation in PACER Plus not totally ruled out. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. On to this week's poll question, and this week we ask, should an expatriate be hired as the new Sevens coach? To answer, visit our FBC website. Thank you for joining us. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. Good night.
Bula, I'm Dori from Nasinu Market. My choice is simple, Gold FM. Only the classic hits.
My name is Yvonne. I'm from Nandi. I love Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Sayandra, my name is Sunny. Only the Gold FM at Golden Point Resort, Raki Raki.
Hi, I'm Anna of Nasinu. When it comes to a radio, my choice is always Gold FM. Only the classic hits.
My name is Anna and I'm from Nandi. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.